Can I have that music that we had when we rehearsed? That'd be awesome. I am the fire that burns within your soul. I am the holy light that fills and makes you whole. I am the flame within that never dies. I am the sun that will
ever arise. Power of the sun, we honor you this night. Leap across the fire, keep our spirits bright. Power of the sun, fire in the night. Leave behind that which blinds, to restore our sight. I am the fire that clears away the old. I am the holy light that guides you to your soul. I am the flame of love for which you yearn. I am the sun that will always return. I am the fire that burns within your soul. I am the holy light that fills and makes you whole. I am the flame within that never dies. I am the sun that will ever arise. Power of the sun, we honor you today. Leap across the fire, keep our spirits bright. Power of the sun, fire in the night. Leave behind that which blinds, to restore our sight. I am the fire that clears away the old. I am the holy light that guides you to your soul. I am the flame of love for which you yearn. I am the sun that will always return.
Good morning, everyone. When I walked in, I thought I heard someone say, "Uh-oh, he's got the Bible with him." Yes, today is a new year, and it is deserving of a whole burrito talk. So we will share the whole burrito this morning. And it will begin with the most transformative of the Gospels, John, in chapter 5. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, a pool, in Hebrew called Bethsaida, which has 5 partitions. In these partitions lay a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is troubled, and while I am going, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your pallet and walk." And at once the man was healed, and he took up his pallet and walked. This whole section is a metaphysical treatise of life. And it goes on to say, sometimes in the footnote and sometimes in the actual passage, that the incapacitated people that were lying in these partitions around this pool believed that when the water in the pool was stirred up, that an angel had entered the water, and that anyone who got into that pool at that time would be healed. And so the man is complaining, who had been there for 38 years. Well, whenever the water is stirred up and I start to go down, someone steps in before me. There's no man to take me down, and I can't get in the water quick enough. And then the great question that comes down through the ages, a question everybody will have to, at one point in his or her life, answer. Do you really want to be healed? Or are the limited conditions in which you are existing good enough? It's like the parable of the wine. The old wine can't be put into new wineskins because it bursts the skins. Are you then satisfied with the old wine? So that is the question we all have to ask. But I will read this to you again, so when I interpret it, you can understand it. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, in Hebrew called Bethsaida, which has 5 partitions. In there lay a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and knew that he had been there lying a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" At this point, I expect his disciples to say, "Hey, Jesus, come on. Of course, I mean, look at him. Of course he..." Jesus said, "Do you want to be healed?" Then the man started to make the excuse, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is troubled, and while I am going, another steps down before me. Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your pallet and walk. And at once the man was healed, and he took up his pallet and walked. Of course, the story, like so many of the stories in the New Testament, seem to be about the miracle-working power of this one and only separate Son of God, Jesus. But it is a sad commentary if that is the case. Because I have a question. Why didn't Jesus turn and heal all of the people around that pool? All the invalids, all the blind, all the lame. Because the pool probably was never real, never historic, never geographical, never there. No anthropologists have ever found such a pool, littered with old broken crutches and canes and such. Never uncovered. If you want to look at it as history, as existing, as being a testimony to the miracle-working power of one separate, single Son of God, Jesus, that's exactly what most of the world is doing. But if you were to contemplate the story and let the difficulty it is to step beyond the time and space perceptions we have that require history, the past, the present, and the future. If you were to step beyond that, you have only two facts. Only two facts. It doesn't say who was the ruling Roman in that time. It doesn't say who the ruling Jewish people were. It doesn't say anything about that. It just tells a story about a pool that had a sheep gate and had 5 partitions. That's all that the Bible writer wants to get across in this, which is not a physical story, but a metaphysical story. It means it is a story that has been inspired, that holds a higher message, even for those who are attempting to understand how, in fact, to heal their own lives. What is it saying to us? That this pool that has a sheep gate, which, if you want to think of it from a physical standpoint, the only thing that the pool was there for was to open that gate, let the sheep in and drink. Was strictly there for animal consciousness. And then the second thought, the second fact in the story is there were 5 partitions, 5 senses, and a multitude of people who are invalids caught in this animal consciousness, the physical 5-sense awareness, which is and can only be interpreted as the world. A sheep gate with 5 partitions. The sense consciousness in which there are a multitude of invalids, and everybody operating in the strictly physical sense consciousness is in fact defined as an invalid. You are living in limitation, and you are waiting for some illusionary, miraculous condition to take place, and some hope that you have that you'll somehow or other run into that guru or that avatar who will be the modern day Jesus and who will say to you, do you want to be healed? And if your heart is really there, if you really do want to be healed and you're not just carrying on day after day, slogging through the limitations of worldly thinking, if you're not just doing that and hoping that at some point you'll be smart enough, rich enough, popular enough to be happy enough, which you won't, because everybody in that pool, that is not their true consciousness. So you see, we're talking about an inspired story that if one contemplates it, will be touched on a deeper level to understand that the Bible writer is not talking about history or the miraculous miracle working power of one man back 2,000 years ago, leaving everyone here and everyone down through the ages to hope that Jesus will return on some distant day on a cloud and pick me. I've done enough good, I think. He'll pick me. Maybe he won't. And then where do you wind up? If he doesn't pick you, if he comes by and grabs a lot of people, but doesn't grab you, and you see them go off in the cloud, where do you wind up? You wind up in New York City. That's your next stop, show business. You didn't make it. No. If this were not a metaphysical story, the masters down through the ages would not reveal the same truth. Who, if this is strictly an inspired story, who then is this Jesus? What does he actually represent? Now I'm going to fix all the problems created by the Sunday school you went to. Because in that Sunday school, Jesus was, in fact, the only separate, special, miracle-working Son of God. But Jesus never said, not once in all the New Testament, never said once, if you accept me, Jesus, as your personal Savior, you will be saved. Never said that. What did he say about himself in referring to himself? And don't ever walk away from this. He said, I am the truth. I am the life. I am the way. I am in you. If you don't want it to be that way, that's up to you. You can go back to the Methodist Church, they'll be glad to have you. I am the truth, the life, and the way to salvation, to enlightenment, to a life truly worth living, to a life that has insight and understanding, joy, happiness, health, peace. And it's corroborated by the other masters down through the ages. Because the only thing that changed for the guy who'd been lying there 38 years was his definition of life. His definition of life was that of a victim. Poor me, I've been here a long time. And when the water is stirred, finally, someone tries to take me down and get me in, but someone steps in before me. It's always the same way. Jesus said to him, right into his heart. Can you imagine saying to somebody who's been laying paralyzed on a pallet for 38 years, just lying there, and he says, hey, do you want to be healed? His disciples say, of course he does, of course he does. No, he doesn't. He got used to being there as the invalid that everybody walks past and says, oh, poor fellow. Gave him a few coins, gave him some food, walked on by. That was his identification. Just as perhaps the physical, mental lifestyle you're living has become your identification. And then, what does that make Jesus except the truth that speaks to everyone and says, in the end, if you understand the scripture, I am the truth. I am the true life. I am in you. Charles Fillmore, Myrtle Fillmore said, Christ in the Bible, the greatest Bible quote is, Christ in you is your hope. Not Christ outside of you, not Christ in history, not Christ walking by somewhere down there in Jerusalem past a pool that was meant for sheep to drink water from. Christ, the divine inspiration that can be nurtured and brought into your consciousness, resides within you, and that truth makes the universe totally honorable. It's not outside of you, that guy up in Tibet that's got the ashram up there, or the ashrams up in Tibet, and all the people flocking to get up there and get the word. The word they're seeking is within them, if they really do want to be healed, if they want to be whole. And this, then, is the master of our modern age, Eckhart Tolle. Can we have this PowerPoint, please? No, this is the Course in Miracles. Workbook 236, paragraph 1 and 2. What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except yourself, with a capital S? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it, nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change his mind, and all his thoughts change with it. Now the source of thought has shifted, for to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think, or ever thought, or yet will think. Speak now, changing the source of your thinking, shifting away from the left brain education of the world, and moving away from that into the inspired, inner, intuitive awareness that we refer to as God. When that opens up as your source for thought, it changes everything. And the source of all ideas you think, or ever thought, or yet will think, you free the past from what you thought before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find. The present now remains the only time. Can we take this back again? What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? Powerful statement. And what can save the world except yourself? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it, nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. The source of his thinking. You can't convince anybody. See, when you're going through this kind of spiritual training, quite often a person will say, Yes, but in the real world. No, what they're saying is, in the world that I perceive, it doesn't happen that way. In the world that I continually perceive, it doesn't happen that way. But you see, the world that you continually perceive is the outpicturing of your thoughts. The life you are living and experiencing is defined by the quality of your thoughts. Did I just make all this up? Seems to me a lot of people said it before me. Even Jesus of Nazareth said it before me. A madman thinks the world he sees is real, just as everyone believes his perception of the world is real. Everyone born and raised and educated in the illusionary thinking of the world believes, I am a separate, objective observer. Nothing could be more incorrect than that statement, but it happens to be what people cling to as being important because it serves the illusionary definition of me, the ego-centered idea of self, small s. That's what I am. So I say it's the real world for now. It can be your real world for now. But if you follow the teachings and the practices being offered here in unity, you will be healed, made whole, raised into a life of insight, understanding, healing, love, and peace. But the madman can't be swayed by questioning his thoughts. He believes it's real. The effects of the thoughts are real. It is but when their source is raised to question, that is, that ego-centered idea of self, being separate and apart from everything it looks upon, when that's questioned, there is hope that freedom can come at last. Can we move on, please? Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change his mind, and all his thoughts change with it. Now the source of thought has shifted, for to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think, or ever thought, or yet will think. You free the past from what you thought it before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking in the world, which is what you think you want, but really do not want. A continuation of the illusionary definition of self. I'm a separate ego, body, mind in a world of separate others. Inspiration does not come easily to me. I do not live in a state of well-being. I hardly feel good a lot of the time, and yet I continue to operate in the thinking in which I was raised, educated, and left. I just told you everything there is to know about religion. So did A Course in Miracles. That's all the masters are ever talking about. You free the past from what you thought it was. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find. The present now remains the only time. And Master Eckhart Tolle corroborates this, but before we get there, let me try to give you a definition. Let's do Eckhart Tolle's PowerPoint. From his book, Stillness Speaks, most people spend their entire life imprisoned within the confines of their own thoughts. That's a typo. They never go beyond a narrow, mind-made, personalized sense of self that's conditioned by the past. If you, as in each human being, in you, as in each human being, there is a dimension of consciousness far deeper than thought. It is the very essence of who you are. We may call it presence, awareness, the unconditioned consciousness. In the ancient teachings, it is the Christ within or your Buddha nature. Can we take this back again, please? Most people spend their entire life imprisoned within the confines of their own thoughts. They never go beyond a narrow, mind-made, personalized sense of self that's conditioned by the past. In you, as in each human being, there is a dimension of consciousness far deeper than the thought. It is the very essence of who you are. We may call it presence, awareness, the unconditioned consciousness. In the ancient teachings, it is the Christ within, or your Buddha nature. In taking this truth to heart, it is not a calling to discard the physical consciousness. It's not a calling to reject the physical life. It is an awakening to the position that the physical body life holds in truth, while we have given it the ascendant idea of ruling our thoughts and minds, that all that we do has to do with improving our physical lot in the experience called life. Well, that changes with spiritual practice, and then the physical is not completely rejected. It is subjugated. It is placed in its condition where it belongs. It becomes a tool of the mind. Let me try to give you an example of this. When your body is no longer the ruling idea that causes you to think, act, and carry on your desires and fears, when it is placed in its proper position, it is understood to be a vehicle for the edification of your mind. The body is understood to be a vehicle for the edification of your mind. You might consider it this way. Suppose you went out to buy a completely new wardrobe. Completely new wardrobe. It's all going to be different. It's all going to be new. But then in the stores that you're attending, as you try on each new item, you stand before a mirror to see how it looks, how it fits. And so you do this with each item that you're collecting for your new wardrobe. Likewise, the body, when you recognize it to be the recipient of your thought process, your thinking then begins to recognize that your thinking is not separate and objective, it is creative. All that you truly think and believe is outpictured in your body experience. So it's like if you're going to go on this spiritual journey and put on a new wardrobe, you begin to understand the relationship that your thoughts and your deepest held beliefs and fears have because you can see it being outpictured in your body life, and the relationship your body life has to other body lives, and the relationship your body life has to the environment, and the relationship your body has to everything that is perceived around it. But it all has to do with listen to it. Just take this away with you and meditate upon it. It all has to do with the quality of your thoughts. The quality of your life is relating to you the quality of your thoughts. If you don't like the quality of your life, then you have to alter the quality of your thinking. Jeepers, I'm so far behind here. I told them it was going to be a whole burrito. Now it's going to be a half a burrito. Okay, I think it's best if I pick up these pieces next week and go through it. Right now, it's best for us to do the one thing that is of most importance: meditation. To be quiet, to relax and quiet the thinking of the mind, and allow the refined light that exists within you to rise in your awareness and to feel the joy, the goodness, the peace, and the love that comes with that. So I'll begin by taking a couple of deep breaths. As you release your breath, release whatever cares or concerns you have up until this point imposed upon yourself through your thinking unknowingly. Release it. Just become aware that you're sitting here in a very safe place, willing to be experiencing the truth of the Masters as it was shared down through the ages. Just breathing is a miracle. Remembering to breathe when concerns rise in the mind. Remembering to breathe when conflict comes into your experience. Remembering to breathe when there are fears. Remembering to breathe when there are catastrophes. Remembering to breathe. Just breathe. Breathing is a pathway to the higher consciousness. It is a mantra to the awareness of wholeness, healing, and peace. Remembering to breathe is a miracle. And so we're going to use this particular thought as a mantra to gently focus the mind on this thought. Using the name of God given to Moses in the book of Exodus. When he asked for God's name, God said, I am what I am. I am that I am. I am in you. You are in what you believe me to be. Be still and know that I am God. I am in you. You are in what you believe me to be. Be still and know that I am God. I am in you. You are in what you believe me to be. Be still and know that I am the only God. Be still and know that I am in you. You are in what you believe me to be. Be still and know that I am God. as we go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space, let us go forth with a greater determination to be awake and mindful in the process of living. To be awake and mindful in the process of living. For this opportunity and every moment, we give thanks. And to this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. And for many of you, the best way to make that offering is with your cell phone. You can go to unityofboulder.com, and there's a QR code you can hit. Or we have the QR code in the lobby out front. You can just scan it and send a donation to Unity of Boulder. And everyone watching on screen, you're tuning in because you're seeking the insights to life that will make life work meaningfully for you. You should be willing to support it by making a donation as well. And to everyone who is a recurring donor, we give thanks for helping us get through the expenses that go with this church and our ministry. And everyone here can bring into their hands that gift they'd like to make to Unity of Boulder. And let's bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive because I give. And so it is.
Hold out to earth the torch divine. We are the lights of the earth. Shine. Hold out to earth the torch divine. We are the lights of the earth. Shine, shine.
Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe to the will and the work of the Spirit of truth, the Spirit available to each of us, the Spirit that joins all of us. We dedicate this tithe to the victory of the Spirit of truth. Amen. As always, you are all invited to join us for our discussion group, which takes place immediately in the bookstore area. We have a room off the bookstore that has chairs that are circled up. You can join us for a discussion, ask any questions you have about this talk or unity, or you may bring up any consideration or concern that you're facing on your spiritual journey. So we talk about anything and everything, and you're welcome to join us for that. Or you can go over into Fellowship Hall and grab a cup of tea first, and then join us. So to everyone, have an enlightened day.